Hello everyone and welcome to round number 6 of URL Division 1 here at Silverstone. Myself and Nikhil will be providing commentary today and we hope you enjoy the race.
Yes, cheers mate. Just sorting out a few technical issues right now, but yeah, 2 seconds. Yes, I'm just going to run you through the standings right now. Let me just get them up. So we have Black Box currently in P1 with Shenda, who has retired from the league in P2. Element, Inception, Rage, Zentricity, Hexagon, Ravako and Ruffy round out the top 10 with Discodes, Lukester, Randy, James, Tesla, Rabuki, Dobby, Miguel, Beastas, Garcia and Blue rounding out the rest of the standings. With the constructors, we have Red Bull and Mercedes fighting out for P1 and 2 with only 2 points separating them, with the Haas team with 82 points in third, with Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo, Renault, Ferrari, Williams, McLaren and Racing Point, the rest of the teams in the standings. The constructors battles aren't looking that tight after P2 and 3, so still got quite a bit to play for in terms of who can get as many points for their teams, but Mercedes and Red Bull are running away with it right now.
Yeah, and I tell you who's running away with it in the driver standings is Black Box, so can anyone catch him by the end of the season? And we've got a few cars on their out laps now. First car out was Michael in the McLaren, who's a reserve driver today. As ever, Nikhil, track limits is probably going to be a big talking point here today,
especially with the exit of Stowe. That's watch out there, but also Old Turn 1. That will be a key point where track limits could be a big factor.
Time and again this season we've seen drivers losing positions, losing good qualifying times due to track limits, so I'm sure those who have been affected will be looking to get clean laps in here and then in the race try not to pick up any penalties.
And I just realised that I didn't select spectator mode at the beginning, so at the start of the race I will have to do the formation lap and also start lap 1, but I will retire straight away so we can get back to get to see the action soon. So
at the moment you're P7, so you're doing well.
Yeah, apologies on my part. Just on board with James right now on his lap. Seems to have no drama so far. Getting a good exit out of Lovefield, as he's now just going to go on arguably what is the longest straight on this track, because you're winding, even though you're winding through a few corners, you are still flat out. So making sure he doesn't scrub off too much speed as he's approaching Magnus Beckett's. Well, a bit of understeer on the exit there, so not the best of exits onto the hanger straight, as he's got that long little run to Stowe now.
See how this lap compares to Beastas and SMM have put in sometimes, with Beastas saying a lap a second quicker than SMM, and Michael goes second quickest. Just 3/10 off the current pace.
Let's see what the second McLaren can do as he crosses the line. 24.5. So expect these guys to get into the 23s. That's the expectation from these guys, and Beastas already showing that it is possible with how close he is right now.
Looking like SMM put his lap on the medium tyres, but he set a lap quicker than his teammate, so both of the Haas cars got a bit of time to find here, and the two McLarens look pretty closely matched, just 2/10 between them.
As Michael being a reserve for today, so let's see if he can get some good points from McLaren. Let's see who else is on a lap right now, as a Ferrari has invalidated his. I think Ravako is, no, he's just finished his lap as well, 24.7. Let's see what Rage can do, 24.7.
Morex Rage goes 6th fastest, so had a lot of pace in the last race, so probably going to be looking to finish up the order again today.
I think Element also said that this track's not his strongest, so let's see how much of a recovery he can do if he doesn't qualify or qualify high enough or doesn't have the pace.
And both himself and Black Box are on their laps right now. So let's see what kind of lap time that they can get out.
Black Box getting a bit of traffic, but still setting a purple sector 1, so a good start to his lap as he's exiting left field now. No, doesn't seem to be any dramas. I think he got on the power quite nicely as he's invalidated already, so unlucky for him. I think he's just be looking to set a banker now to see what time he can do. As Elements is a purple middle sector with a 101 dead, 101-1 on his other sector split, so
looks like he's picked up a bit of slipstream down the straight as well, which might have helped him as the car in front conveniently pits. Bit of a lock up, but now he's coming through the final few corners. Looks like it's going to be a promising lap. Let's see where he can go. And he put so far he's on the front row. Still nobody's beaten Beastas's time. So the 124.0, the time to beat at the moment.
Let's see what Hex can do. I was practicing with him just earlier today, and he was in the 22s quite comfortably. So let's see what he can do as he's already set a purple first sector. I think a tiny bit of a slide, but still kept it flat, so good to see from him. As I think he's a 10th down on Element's middle sector and Beastas's middle sector right now.
Unless he can make some time up here in the last sector, really throwing the car in there. It
was the last sector that was really strong for Hexagon, so let's see if he can put a good last sector in just now, as he is approaching the last turn. And he goes up.
He's only fourth fastest, so probably looking to improve there. Good lap from Rafi so far to be up in third in the Ferrari. Obviously put in some good performances the last few races to get some points on the board for Ferrari in the constructors' standings.
Let's see what Randy is about to do as he approaches the last sector in the Mercedes. As
being invalidated as he runs wide on the last corner.
Let's hope that he can keep the track limits to a low. I think it was France maybe, or I can't remember what track it was. Gathered quite a few penalties, I think.
Yeah, in Inception, another guy that's had his lap time deleted for track limits. So Black Box is on his out lap, just warming his tyres up, trying to get a lap in.
As he exited the pit, so yeah, I think the track temperatures are pretty cool as it does look to be quite overcast right now. Beastas setting a purple first sector on his lap as he slowed down, I think. So
probably to let Black Box through, or maybe he made a mistake. Not too sure there.
I think he was pushing too hard into left field, so unlucky for him. I think he can do a second lap on this tyres if he hasn't burnt them out too much. Still enough time in the session, so.
Got the McLaren of James coming through the last sector now. See whether we can improve on his time. Coming down the last. Not sure his time stood, but he is starting a flying lap now. So let's see what he can do if he can get ahead of his teammate, who's currently in 5th place. As Beastas comes into the pits.
So yeah, I think I'm not sure he has time for 2 more runs. I think he'll just wait out to the last 3 minutes of the session to set a lap time. As the McLaren Michael is improving on his time right now as well.
And we've got Lukester in the racing point coming around the last corner. He's not set a lap yet. So let's see what he can do as he comes around the final corner. Goes 4th fastest. So and SMM, our reserve driver in the Haas, puts in a 123.8. So those are the 123s that you were talking about, Nikhil. And let's see how many other guys can dip in below the 124s and match that lap time.
Yeah, pretty impressive from him. Not seen him race before, but times are looking promising for him as Michael set a purple middle sector on his lap as well. So I think he's flying quite well as well.
maybe track conditions coming to the drivers now. Just Inception, Randy, and Black Box yet to set a lap time. So with 7 minutes left of the session, if they want to get more than one run in, they're going to have to try and get a lap time on the board. This Black Box has entered the last sector of the lap, so let's see what the championship leader can do in the Mercedes.
Doing a 101 dead in the at the second sector split, so very good lap from him so far.
Just going past the line as we speak, and he goes fourth fastest, so 124.1. Still only one guy out there in the 123s, but people will be going for... how many runs do you think they've got time for? Do you reckon they've got time for 2 runs?
With how long the pit lane is, honestly, I think just 1 right now. So I suspect the smart thing would be just to wait it out for the last 3 minutes and then go out and set a lap time.
And it's going to be, as a result, it's going to be even more important for these guys to get a clean lap in at the end, because we don't want anybody's qualifying being ruined because of track limits again.
Exactly, so people who haven't set a lap time yet, which are Randy and Inception, may have a little bit of pressure if they've not been able to set a good lap time so far.
Yeah, and Randy looking to put in a good performance after a bit of misfortune in the last round, where because of game issues he was just unable to compete in the race.
Yeah, so hopefully able to bounce back. Quite jokingly early in this week, Randy and Black Box saying that they're bringing that AMG power to, going along the lines of the AMG memes of the Mercedes, but...
Yeah, they'll be hoping for a 1-2 ideally here then.
Yes.
But good team camaraderie between the two of them.
It's nice to see some banter between the drivers, but also teamwork as well. So yeah, quite rightly said, mate.
Ruffy and the Ferraris just put in the fastest lap time of the day, narrowly edging SMM. So that's a good lap time, 1:23.8. But what that tells us is that there's plenty of time to be found here, and I think you're going to see some new names at the top of the timing sheets at the end of this session.
Especially with how powerful track evolution can be around Silverstone. I know it's not a hot day today, but these guys will have another 2-3 tenths in their bag easily if they can hook up a good lap.
Yeah, meanwhile, Hexagon is currently on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. So let's see, his lap's not been invalidated yet, I think. So he'll be pushing to the line.
As Inception manages to get up to P3 with a 24 dead, so missing out in the 23s by only 8 milliseconds. Sorry. So hopefully, if he can get that last run in, he'll be able to get into those 23s.
Now Hexagon entering the final few corners. Bit of a lock up into corner entry, but let's see what kind of lap time he can get. Floors the throttle going across the line now. And goes fourth quickest, just ahead of his teammate there. So the two Alfa Romeos very closely matched here, but neither able to match the top two. As Beastas goes quickest, a tenth quicker than Ruffy. So still setting the pace throughout this session, Beastas.
We will see a bit of a tight qualifying even today in the D3 race. Only the top 8 were separated by only 2 tenths of a second. I might just add I was in that 2 tenths of a second as well, so yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, although at the moment it says you're 18th, so clearly Division 1. But yeah, it's good to see a tight qualifying between the guys. We're seeing some names at the top of the timesheets that we don't normally see. Ruffy putting in a great performance so far to be second. SMM and what I think is his debut as a reserve, currently in the top 3. And the likes of LMN and Black Box, the guys who are normally at the front, currently running 6th and 7th, so they'll be looking to improve for sure.
Could possibly pass the Super Sub Trophy to SMM a bit early now, or should we wait till the end of the race to give him that Super Sub Trophy?
Let's not put a commentator's curse. As I seem to remember in the last round, every time I switched to a battle down the order, there was somebody had a spin or a puncture or something, so don't want to jinx anything just yet.
As James, one of the guys beginning their final runs, currently heading to a Sector 1 split now.
Yeah, the story of McLaren's season so far seems to be some decent performances in the race, but the tyre strategies have been a bit difficult. They've taken some interesting strategies in the last two races, from what I can remember. But James seems to have had some decent pace, so he'll be definitely looking to try and get into the top. A top 6 would be a great achievement, I think, here.
Yeah, with the way tyre wear and how hard it is to overtake it, a one stop is the easiest way and the fastest way to go. So don't expect anyone to do a two stop, especially with how low the tyre wear is around here.
Yeah, it's not going to be a huge threat of punctures, hopefully, this time. We have had some very late punctures in the last two rounds, which has caused a bit of drama. James 2/10 down on the current pace at the moment as he enters the last sector.
I think around 8 or 9 people on the outlaps right now. So
and the McLaren of James unable to improve, so at the moment he stays 8th.
Thanasis, the other reserve, not having the best of times out there, still on a 26.8. I think he's just not been able to set a good lap time in so far.
Yeah, he's starting his what looks to be his final flying lap now, so he'll definitely be looking to improve. His teammate is currently up in 2nd place.
Black Box just on his lap now.
I think Rage and Randy are 2 drivers as well that are currently, I don't think they've been able to set a representative lap time yet.
Black Box are nearly a 10th up in the first sector, so definitely flying now out there. Let's hope he can keep it clean through Luffield and get a good run to the Magneton Beckett section. He could potentially steal a little cheeky slipstream from the McLaren on the hanger straight. I think the McLaren letting him by now.
Just slowing down, so he's not going to get the advantage of the slipstream, but let's see what his sector 2 is like. He's
definitely
flying through these corners right now. Oh, and he's invalidated his lap by getting onto the grass. And it looks like that's Black Box's qualifying over. He's going to have to do some overtaking in the race if he wants to finish at the front.
Let's see what LMN can do as he's in the first sector right now, winding the throttle as he's getting onto the little short straight as he gets into Village and Luffield.
He's got a nice clear track ahead of him. We see Hexagon and Inception running very close to each other on track, and they're both giving each other some space now to try and set their final flying lap.
No dramas on LMN's lap so far, so looks to be a good time. I can't see anything on his steering wheel delta right now, so we'll just have to rely on the sector split. As he one dead in the middle sector, so
he's
very
2/10 up, so it's a very good sector there. Let's just see if he can keep it clean and keep it on the track through the last sector. Try and keep the lap time. Just a couple more corners to negotiate now as he comes to the line. What's it going to be? It puts him on pole, or provisional pole.
A very, very good lap from LMN.
Just edging Beastas. And that lap sort of come out of nowhere here. And I know LMN said that this isn't his strongest track, but that was a very good lap to put him on pole here. I believe everybody set their lap times.
I think Inception is just on one right now, as there's a bit of drama in the middle sector so far.
It looks like
Inception
Randy's reversing in the Mercedes. I don't know if he's had a spin or something, but he's down in 15th, so disappointing qualifying for him today. We have got Ravaco in the Renault, who's actually improved in the middle sector, so he's entering sector 3 now, currently in 14th place, but it looks like he's going to improve if he can keep the lap time.
Inception, no improvement there, so unlucky for him. I think the last sector he definitely lost 10th easily with that little half slide. As
so Ravaco improves to 13th.
And that's Randy's qualifying over. If it was real life...
SMM just invalidated his lap time. And Beastas just goes a 10th quicker to take snatch pole away from LMN. So what a fascinating battle for pole position we've had here. We've got a Red Bull 2-3, Beastas on pole, and Ruffy with an excellent qualifying to be 4th in the Ferrari. So once again here in Division 1, it's very close, and I expect it to be just as close in the race as well.
We will see quite a bit of a DRS train on this track, especially with how hard it is to overtake. So It'll be interesting to see who can keep it clean in the race.
It'd be a bit like a bit of a chess match in the fight for the lead, as they're all going to be stuck behind each other. It'll just be whoever blinks first or whoever gets a penalty first, just like we saw in the last round.
As Hexagon not too impressed with the driving etiquette in qualifying, but let me just run you through this qualifying results now. Beastas, Element and Rage round out the top 3, with Ruffy, SMM, Inception, Hexagon, Black Box, James, Lukester rounding out the top 10. Michael, Discodas, Ravako, Tino, Randy, Yano and Thanasis. All the rest of the drivers have qualified. Obviously I haven't qualified because I'm a commentator, my mistake, but let's see what the race is going to be like. Quite a tight qualifying. It was nice to see at least 4 or 5 drivers in those 23, so amazing from them.
Andy just reporting the reason for his qualifying woes is that he was pushing hard and he spun on the curbs, and he was distracted by a Ferrari who was spun, the same Ferrari that Hexagon was also talking about. Not sure who they're talking about there.
Definitely a bit of a mishap in the Maggots-Beckett section between 2-3 drivers. We'll see what incidents people will put later on after this race if they want to file for impeding in qualifying. Oh yeah, just apologies. I will do the formation lap, and then on the first lap I will retire, but I'll let the grid go first, and then I'll get into spectator mode. Apologies for that again.
Looks like commentary's getting even more immersive these days. We're going to get
I mean, I wouldn't mind racing with these guys, to be honest. With the way that qualifying pace looked, I think I would be pretty competitive with these guys.
Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? Imagine commentating and driving in the race at the same time. But having a look at what tyres everyone's starting on. Most people starting on the soft tyres, even some of the guys outside the top 10, like Randy and Yano. We have got 4 guys on the mediums: Michael, Discodas, Ravako and Tino. So like you said, tyre wear's not really an issue here, so it'll be a pretty straightforward soft to medium or medium to soft run. It looks like Randy starting on the softs because he wants to make up a lot of positions at the start.
Yeah, I'm surprised a few people went on the mediums, especially if there is an early safety car. They are going to be screwed for the rest of the race, especially with how easy it is to do a soft medium strategy. I was expecting quite a few drivers to start on those soft tyres outside the top 10.
If you do see an early safety car, you can expect pretty much all the soft runners to dive into the pits straight away and put on some mediums or some hards to the end.
Yeah, mediums can definitely go to the end, but it will require quite a bit of tyre management. So hopefully if the drivers do keep it clean, we won't see any of that, but definitely the people who start on the mediums are going to struggle quite a bit if there's an early safety car.
So Beastas just warming his tyres up. Got two Red Bulls who are going to be very eager to take the lead.
Williams at the back that's just crashed out on the formation lap of Yano.
That looks to be Yano. Yeah, I don't know whether he's had a spin or he's had an incident with another car, but he's
first person view of that. So luckily, like in real life, he won't have to start in the pit lane.
I'm not sure if he can pick up. I'm not sure if the car ghosts on the formation lap or whether he's picked up some damage.
No, so I don't think he has any damage on formation lap. Damage is off. It's just in the race there will be damage.
So very lucky to get away with that there, but he is going to start the race from his usual in his spot of 16th place.
I'm just going to have to hand off the start of the race to Vivek as I sort myself out in with the stream. So hopefully Vivek can explain to you or what's going on in the first lap.
Well, we're not expecting the cars to go as the lights go out, as it's a glitch of the game. But eventually they will get underway. when they are underway just as the lights go out, and it's a good start for the front two as Beastas covers off LMN into the first corner. So far so tidy. We've got an Haas running wide, and Beastas has kept the lead at the start from the two Red Bulls, but we've got SMM taking 5th place from Hexagon, and we've got some movement down the bottom. So Randy has lost a couple places from the start, so not an ideal start for him.
The Red Bulls going side by side. I am back now.
And Ruffy's lost a lot of positions on the start. He was in 4th and now he's down to 6th, going side by side with Hexagon. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 2, so it must be some kind of contact. A lot of the cars running close together or side by side. Black Box fighting with the Ferrari of Ruffy.
Yeah,
and it's a safety car on lap 1, so Discadas looks like he's retired from the race, so some kind of incident, some kind of contact between some cars.
Both Williams back down on the grid, so not a good start for the Williams team.
Yeah, and Randy, you're still down in 14th, and actually Thanos is in the Ferrari, who was struggling on lap 1, seems to have made up a couple positions in the carnage. And Beastas retains the lead from the two Red Bulls. SMM has made himself a good start in 4th place, and Ruffy lost out there, down in 6th place. Black Box still in 7th place ahead of Inception, so those two will definitely be looking to make up some time. Probably a bit early to dive into the pits now, so I think they're probably going to carry on the soft tyres. What do you reckon?
I say it's a risk going on the mediums right now. It is possible, but I say just stay out right now, and I think they will be okay. As a few people
Hexagon
have
having a great
pits.
start, and Ravaco up to 8th, starting 13th, so some people capitalizing on some of the issues. And SMM is not sure if he's pitted or if he's had some kind of issue, because he's dropped down to 14th when he was, I believe he was up in the top 6.
On my screen he is 4th, so it might just be a bit of a game glitch right now, I'm not too sure. But
we
both
have got
Red
some
Bulls
cars in the pits, so we've got Jarno in the pits changing his front wing, we've got James in the pits in the McLaren, Randy coming into the pits in the Mercedes. So we also seem to have a bit of a glitch on the timing screens at the moment, so
see James going on the hards, Randy's on the mediums. A few of the cars that started on the mediums have stayed on those medium tyres, so
yeah, James the only runner on the hard tyres, so he'll be looking to take advantage of the more linear progression of tyre wear on the hard tyres to still have pace, still have similar pace at the end, consistent pace.
this will help the soft tyre runners. They can go a bit longer in this race if they really wanted to have fresher mediums towards the end of this race. So it'll be interesting to see. I think now that the safety car's out, they won't have to save tyres as aggressively as before.
And they'll be able to save ERS and fuel as well, to a bit more to attack with later on.
Especially with Silverstone being quite a power track, fuel will be a factor, but the safety car definitely will help this now.
Beastas is going to have to be smart with where he does the restart, because it is, as you said, it's going to be a bit of a slipstream train, and he doesn't want to be swamped into the first corner or into the first sector by the cars behind him, because those two Red Bulls look like they've got a bit of pace.
Yeah, I think the best place to restart from is midway through the last turn, because it will catch the cars behind out, and you will be able to pull away quite nicely.
Two cars picking up penalties. We've got Thanasis in the Ferrari and GFR Tino picking up penalties in 12th and 13th, so a bit unfortunate this early in the race to get a penalty. Yeah, both 5-second penalties, so they're going to have to serve those in the pits, so that's going to add time to their pit stop. They're going to have ground to make up after they've made their stops.
With how low they are on the in the current race right now, I'm not sure if it would be a good option if they box now and serve those penalties. I'm not 100% sure if that is allowed or it's a way they should go. But especially with how low they are right now, it is a smart strategy to do.
Well, let's see as they enter the last sector if anybody does come into the pits.
I think safety car might actually come in this lap. The pack is bunched up now, so...
Okay, well the race will be starting for a second time now if the safety car is going in. Safety car in this lap, yeah, so
confirmation
the race will be back underway shortly. See all the cars weaving almost in formation to get some temperature into the tyres before the restart. So Beastas will control the pace and choose to go whenever he feels like it.
Yep, as the game giving me a really bad camera angle right now. Hopefully I can get a good one as we begin the race again.
Okay, as the cars enter the final turn now.
And as he has gone now,
Beastas is gone, and that's a good restart from him. He's already 7/10 ahead of the two Red Bulls.
So good start from him. Let's see if he can pull away. I think the best thing for him to do is just try and pull away outside that 1 second, and then he can manage the pace from there.
Yeah, use the extra ERS and fuel and tyres that he saved under the safety car and try and use that to pull out a gap on
That's
LMN.
already 9/10, so he's definitely pulling away now, slowly.
And once again, the two Red Bulls running quite close together on track, so interesting to see what kind of team tactics they come up with here.
Mercedes struggling right now, one in P7 and one last right now, so not good for constructors so far.
Yeah, from a championship perspective, if Black Box does finish down in 7th, which I'm sure he's going to do everything he can to make up some positions, but it could allow his rivals to close in a little bit. He's got a 40-point lead at the moment in the championship, so
definitely got one and a bit hands on that championship trophy.
Yeah, it's been a pretty dominant season so far for him, and Randy now currently running in 16th and last, but closing up to Tino in the Haas. Got yellow flags in sector 2, so not sure if that's
I think it's a
there's
Williams
been
of
any
Yano.
incidents.
So Williams not having a good day. I think Yano had a bit of a moment in Maggots and Beckett.
Yeah, now he's plumb last, 7 seconds behind, so an issue. I'm not sure if it was also him who had an issue on the formation lap as well, as Bisas puts in the fastest lap. And Tino picks up another penalty, this time for speeding in the pit lane, so
that's the sub's not
and so
doing
does Yano. And actually Yano's retired from the race, so either he had an issue or he's given up as the Haas comes into the pits. No, it's a double DNF in their home race as well, in the constructors' home race.
Not good showing for him as well. He was drafted in as a sub today, and he has retired quite quickly, so definitely not a good look for the team.
The gap now at the lead, 1.1 seconds from Beastas to LMN, so Beastas doing exactly what you said he should, which is pulling out the gap as much as he can. LMN's pulling away a little bit from Rage as well, and
SMM giving a bit of pressure to Rage right now. Gap only 4/10, so he could actually overtake once DRS is active. But
still fighting for the Super Sub, the Super Sub award here, running in 4th right now.
I mean, as of all the subs right now, SMM is actually doing a very good job right now. Firmly in the points and he's qualified quite well.
Yeah, now we got Black Box trying to put in the recovery drive all over the back of the Ferrari of Ruffy, as Inception picks up a 3-second penalty. So
it was a factor we discussed in qualifying, so yeah, hopefully he can reduce those penalties he gets.
DRS has now been enabled, so any of the cars running within a second of the other, which most of the cars are actually within DRS range of each other, so anybody's looking to size up and overtake. As the Ferrari of Ruffy has a huge lockup into turn 1 and allows Black Box to go down the inside.
And Inception.
So big mistake, and he's lost 2 positions in one corner. So has started up in 4th and he's now down to 8th place.
And the attack.
But he's coming back at Inception now. Makes the move, big lockup, and they make a bit of contact. He uses the AlphaTauri as a brake there. So I'm not sure Inception will be very happy with that, as they're still going side by side. The Ferrari with the outside line. Meanwhile, Black Box has just escaped from this battle.
Which is a good thing for him. He won't have to look behind now, and he can just focus on pushing ahead now.
Ruffy back ahead of Inception, but Inception's probably going to have a look at on the back straight. So
Ruffy out that DRS, so he has nothing to defend with right now. So Inception should be able to just slingshot by as he enter onto the hangar straight right now.
Yeah, Ruffy using some of his overtake to try and pull away. Lukster's just come out of nowhere to put a bit of pressure on Inception. So we've got a three-way fight here for 7th place. And remember, Inception is carrying a penalty, so the quicker he can get past Ruffy and pull away, the better chance he has of salvaging this race.
It's the nature of Silverstone. Once you're outside of that DRS, it's hard to defend. So hopefully Ruffy can get back into the DRS of Black Box to defend from Inception. The gap, he's only a 10th out.
And Black Box is really flying. He's just under a second behind Hexagon. So he'll have DRS on the Alfa Romeo as well, so he's already looking to make his way into the top 5.
DRS train from P2 to P6 right now, so
Rage is closed up again on LMN. He's now 4/10 behind, so LMN struggling to make an impression on the race leader at the moment, so I wonder if Rage feels that he is quick enough to make a dent in that 1.3 second gap. And Ruffy now still ahead of Inception and actually has pulled away a bit, so he survived the back straight DRS attack from the AlphaTauri.
James getting a 3-second time penalty to track limit, so
yeah, McLaren's still not having the best day in the office at the moment either. James is on the hard, so he's not going to stop again, and his teammates outside the points in 11th. In the DRS of Ravaco in 10th.
Rage must be using quite a bit of ERS trying to stay ahead of LMN, especially with not having that DRS to defend with. So expect maybe a swap from the Red Bulls. Let's see how their teamwork is compared to the Mercedes, for example.
We did see some good teamwork from the Mercedes guys.
Definitely shows in the constructor standing with the teamwork that we do have.
And Black Box has dropped a couple of tenths to Hexagon.
So
he's taken a 10th out of the race leader as well, so getting on with it now, LMN. Oh no, Rage has got ahead of LMN, and now he's closing in on Beastas.
Rage definitely just pulling away now. The gap already 9/10,
so it was the right decision for them to swap positions, because Rage is showing a lot of race pace, as he showed in the last round as well. In qualifying, his qualifying was good but not spectacular, but his race pace is really something else. So let's see what impression he can make on the race leader.
Rage definitely improving in the last 3 races, so good to see from the Red Bull driver.
And the only issue now is LMN's under huge pressure from SMM in the Haas, and he hasn't got anyone to help him defend. He is currently in DRS range of his teammate, but it's only a matter of time until he looks like he gets passed by the Haas.
Hanging back right now, not using any DRS, so I think he's just going to save it while he can. Smart strategy from him. ERS is hard to recover around this track, as they both dive into the pits and looking for that undercut now, LMN and SMM, so
it's going to be a fight all the way out of the pits, and probably going to go into the medium compound tyres. That might put a bit of pressure on the race leaders, because they might have to at some point think about coming into the pits to cover off the likes of LMN and SMM.
Exactly, with the undercut being worth nearly a second, maybe even more on the outlap, so let's see what the Beastas and Rage will do.
If they can get a good gap as they come out of the pits,
Rage definitely showing
hopefully not in traffic.
These soft tyres do have very good pace to leave into lap 14, so let's see how much pace they can use. I say just use those soft tyres now and just roll the dice and just go on to the medium tyres.
Just put in the best lap they can, yeah.
Rage having a bit of a slide at the exit of left field, but I think he is running.
Yeah, as Bono would say, it's hammer time for Beastas and Rage to try and maintain 1 and 2 as they make their pit stops.
There's just an update on the penalties, so Inception on 3 seconds, James on 3, then Assist and Tino both on 5. picking those up under the safety car when they collide.
And sorry to interrupt, but the Haas of SMM has got ahead of the Red Bull of LMN. So after making their pit stops, the Haas was able to get ahead, but they've got a 15-second gap to the next car ahead, so they've got plenty of clear track ahead of them to have a great lap to try and undercut those ahead of them.
SMM definitely able to warm those tyres or fire those tyres up quicker than LMN so far.
LMN might have another go with DRS, but just looks like that Haas has got more pace. He's pulling away through the corners at the moment.
Black Box has also gone for the undercut on those medium tyres, setting a purple middle sector, so definitely flying. The leaders still haven't boxed right now, so opting to stay out.
Yeah, I wouldn't count Black Box out for a good result here as well. Setting some good sector times on the medium tyres, and he's not too far away from the Red Bull and the Haas fighting up ahead. Meanwhile, we've got the Ferrari of Ruffy, the Racing Point of Lukester coming into the pits. Beastas has come into the pits as well by the looks of it, and is out on the medium compound tyres. So Rage inherits the lead and will try and put in the best in-lap he can, as he's probably going to come into the pits sometime soon.
Yeah, it probably would be smart to box this lap now, so just use the rest of the tyres and see what you can do. You're definitely low on ERS as well, so with the pit lane being quite long around here, it is easy to recover quite a bit of ERS.
He's using all of his ERS down the back straight, so it looks like this is his in-lap, down to 3%, so he's trying to put the best in-lap he can.
I think you could recover around 40% in the pit stop with just how long the pit lane is.
Even with just braking there, he's back up to 20%. So probably a wise decision to use it all up, as Hexagon follows him into the pits as well, as does Inception.
So we will ride on board with Beastas and with Beastas right now to see how where the rest of the grid will pan out once the pit stops are done.
Yeah, Ravaco inherits the lead 2/10 ahead of Michael, but I don't think they've made any pit stops yet. No, they're yet to stop.
It is going to be pretty tight. I think Beastas might actually have this. Looking at the map, the Red Bull still isn't out of the pit lane yet, but I think he will get undercut from his teammate. Yes, he will. Actually, no. So the overcut. Yeah, sorry. Let's see. Actually, I think the overcut.
Beastas stays ahead of Rage, and he's actually gained a second on him in the pit stop. So Rage staying out hasn't really worked out yet, but it might work out at the end of this race when he has one lap fresher tyres.
He has managed to overcut, get that overcut to work and stay ahead of SMM and LMN. So, okay, so far, but they are battling right now.
We've got a fight between Ruffy, Blackbox and Hexagon, and SMM and Rage as Rage gets back past SMM. So, plenty of battles going on after the pit stops here.
Let's hope that Rage can just, with that tyre advantage, he can afford to push harder now to get that gap, but it will be pretty hard.
And the Ferrari of Ruffy trying to make an impression on this race again as he's closing up to the back of Black Box. So still got pace there, and he's looking to make up some positions. Currently in 11th, but we have got two cars yet to pit, which is the Renault and the McLaren running in 1 and 2 at the moment.
As Rage locks up into the final few corners.
The McLaren, who's made his pit stop on the hard tyres, is currently running in 4th place. He is carrying a penalty, but he's got a bit of track position that he's going to have to defend from the likes of Beastas and Rage. Currently got an 11-second gap.
He will
it looks like he'll inherit the net lead once. Actually, Randy will inherit the net lead all the way from down in 15th after making his pit stop early in the race. Once Ravaco and Michael pit, so they are going to have to do some defending, but it looks like they're going to have track position.
Yeah, Randy and James both presumably going to the end, which is possible. So
yeah, if Randy can make those mediums last to the end, it doesn't look like there's any doubt that James can make those hards go to the end. They definitely will. Yeah, but they're going to have to do some conservation here to make sure that they don't burn out at the end of the race.
The hards definitely could probably do a whole race distance with the tyre wear, with how low the tyre wear is on that tyre. So he will.
Yeah, Randy's got to use the advantage of the mediums while while it's available to him to pull away from James. He's got a second ahead of him, I think. Yeah, so he's out of DRS range at the moment.
Rage still under pressure from SMM, but Element in that DRS train as well.
So Element might benefit here from his teammate and Haas fighting, because it's going to allow him to be pulled along in the DRS and maybe pick up on any opportunities if they do tangle in battle.
Element on 50% ERS, SMM on 60%, and Rage very low. He's on about 25-30%, I think, looking at the steering wheel. So definitely having to use more ERS to defend from the cars behind. This will only help SMM and Element keep recharge their batteries to overtake later on in the race.
Yeah, SMM on 78%, he's up to 80% ERS, so he's got plenty. Actually, Rage has been using a lot of ERS to defend, and he's down to 27%. He hasn't got a car ahead of him to get the tow or the DRS off. He's got Beastas, but he's 2 seconds behind him.
Yeah, the gap staying pretty similar even after the pit stop, so unlucky for him. I think that undercut from Beastas has helped him just gap even more to the rest of the pack.
And we have got a scrap for the current guys leading the race, Ravaku and Michael. So both on the medium tyres, both yet to pit. Maybe we'll be looking to come into the pits in around this sort of time. They're going to go on softs to the end, but they're currently separated by just 0.4 of a second. So they're fighting it out.
Yeah, if they do start to tussle a bit more, it's not going to help either of their races. So hopefully, if they think twice about it, they will work together in a sense and not battle too hard. And
yeah, the more time they lose, the less likely they're going to come out in a good position.
Especially as they will be on the soft tyres at the end, so they can fight out then and also try and gain a few positions on those faster tyres.
And it's looking like, as usual, we're going to have a nice close end to this race, because we've got a bit of an offset of strategies. We've got the front runners from the start of the race with Beastas, Rage, SMM and Element. Still got plenty of pace, but we've got Randy and James who are on a different strategy and maybe don't have the 1 lap pace of the guys behind them, but they've got track position. So looks like it's going to be a 5-6 car fight for the lead at the end of this race. And talking about ruining the race for Ravaku and Michael, Michael picks up a 5-second penalty or a 3-second penalty before he makes his pit stop.
As Beastas are already taking out 3 seconds in the last 2 laps on James and Randy Goat, so definitely is pushing along now. At this rate, he will catch them up in around 3 laps, 4 laps time. So
yeah, Beastas showing he's got plenty of pace still in the Alfa Romeo.
Rage has taken around 3-4 tenths out of Beastas, but I think Beastas just slowly winding it back a tiny bit, just probably saving a bit of his tyres now, so he can push on a bit later in the race.
Yeah, Rage getting a bit of oversteer through that corner, but he is staying ahead of the Haas of SMM behind him, so still got some pace, because he did get past quite easily after the pit stops, but so far he's able to defend.
Yeah,
and he got his teammate LMN still within DRS range of SMM, so
SMM definitely will
could
be
see
gaining,
some position changes.
He definitely will be gaining quite a bit of time through this section before Maggins and Beckett, but because of how much downforce is required through those S's, he falls back too much to be able to overtake on the hanger straight. So it's all about how much he can stick behind that Red Bull when he's in that dirty air.
Yeah, he's going to be close on this straight now, but I'm not sure if the corner is an overtaking opportunity here, unless he's got a lot more pace than the Red Bull, as he still stays around 3 tenths behind Rage.
Yeah, so as soon as he gets into that Maggins and Beckett section, that 3 tenths gap becomes around 5 to 6 tenths. So really hard for him to overtake so far.
And we've got a scrap for the lead with Michael and Ravaku still not pitting on the medium tyres. They're running side by side and they're swapping positions throughout the lap. So they are going to be losing time, but it's an entertaining battle for us to see. And Michael's got DRS ahead of Ravaku, so the McLaren takes the lead of the race.
Definitely cheeky, getting that DRS and then overtaking, which is a pretty smart strategy from him. The gap.
Yeah, now he's going to try and pull away as Hexagon picks up a 3-second time penalty and the second Alfa Romeo.
Shame for Hexagon getting that penalty because he does have quite a bit of pace. A bit of no man's land right now, but
he could have always come back at the end, and now chances of a top 3, top 4 finish look to be scuppered unless the guys ahead of him also pick up penalties.
Still having Black Box and Ruffy right behind him, half a second and a second behind so far, so he is able to keep ahead of them, but I'm definitely not going to help him with that 3-second time penalty, sorry.
Yeah, Black Box definitely not having the easiest race here, still not being able to clear Hexagon, and he's got the Ferrari putting him under pressure behind him.
Now. So Michael just about getting the pit entry because he was locking up on the line, so luckily
they both come into the pits in tandem. So interesting to see where they come out as Randy takes the lead of the race now in the Mercedes, and it'll be his job to defend from the guys behind him until the end.
Definitely can put a strong defense in. It will allow his teammate to catch up to the DRS train of Element, SMM and Rage. So let's see how that pans out as James is under a second now.
Yeah, he's gained some time on Randy, so not sure if Randy's been driving conservatively or those medium tyres are starting to wear a bit, but James has found some pace, and if you're looking to try and take the lead of this race, he's going to have DRS. He's just out of DRS now. He's just a second behind Randy. So, and if these guys do scrap, then that falls perfectly into the hands of Beastas, because they're going to lose time, and he's already gaining around a second a lap.
Apologies, just reading something on Discord. Beast has now got that gap down to 6.5 seconds, so he is definitely closing upon these guys. Randy and James doing a very good job right now on those older tyres.
People in the chat saying now that James is, and I guess also Randy, is put in a great strategy, because starting down the order, this was their best chance of having a good result. As we've got yellow flags as Thanasis and the Ferrari has spun and falls back down the order. So Tino and Thanasis, two reserve drivers, not having the easiest of days here. Both picking up multiple penalties and about 20 seconds behind. So it's been a bit of a trial by fire for these guys.
Definitely could say he's in a bit of a spinala in the Ferrari.
And if you were wondering where Michael and Rivacco did filter out, they're actually running in 12th and 13th, but they are on the soft tyres, so they've got plenty of time to make up positions. We've got Lukester in the last
3-second time penalty. Sorry to interrupt, mate. But James getting that 3-second time penalty, so if Beastas can catch up quick enough, he will be in a
That's
actually
a second penalty. He's picked up 2 3-second time penalties, so really not doing his race any favours. He has a masterstroke of a strategy. We were just talking actually on the formation lap how some of the McLaren strategies have been a bit dubious, but this one seems to be a good one, and he's really not helped it with the penalties here.
Yeah, it's definitely shot himself in the foot with those track limit penalties. If he can get past Randy Go, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to just pull away, especially as Randy's on those old mediums, but he really has to get past Randy now to try and recover his race.
Black Box puts in the fastest lap of the race, so making a statement there that he's not done making up positions. He's got about 2 seconds to make on LMN, and actually Rivacco in the Renault takes fastest lap away. But he is outside the top 10, so he won't get a point for it.
I think Black Box has already overtaken Hexagon if I remember correctly, so he just has to take those 2 seconds off LMN to get back into that DRS train up ahead. Beastas having to catch 5 seconds now to James and Randy, so definitely pushing along quite nicely right now.
Yeah, and Rage still under pressure from SMM, and LMN not far behind. So these 3 cars separated by less than a second, but they've sort of stayed the gaps have sort of stayed the same for the last few laps. So unless SMM is just biding his time, looking for one big lap to get an overtake on Rage.
As James is going for the overtake into Stowe on Randy, just about getting ahead. Stick. So Randy definitely not able to overtake, defend from the McLaren right now. So let's see if he can stick behind that McLaren and just hold in that DRS, because Beastars is flying right now.
Yeah, if he can stay close to James and stay in his DRS, that's P2 is still a very good position considering where he started.
As he's getting quite a bit of a nice run after the first 2 turns, so I think he is able to just stick behind so far.
And let's not forget, James has got 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he doesn't really need to waste too much time trying to overtake him. If he can just sit behind him, he's going to finish ahead of him anyway.
And it will help his race, and he could pull on a very good recovery drive. Potentially could win this race. I don't want to jinx it right now, but it is also going to come down to tyres like it has done in the last few races with these guys. So
yeah, the issue is his medium tyres are almost twice as old as the mediums on Beastas' Alfa Romeo, so it's going to be a big ask for him to gain the lead maintain the lead, as Beastas is now just 4 seconds behind Randy.
Randy only 3/10 as they go into Maggins and Beckett's right now, so he definitely is able to just stick behind. Potentially maybe a bit strategic from Randy, able to just save that ERS running behind James right now.
Yeah, and it looks to be the right approach, I think, just to sit behind him in the DRS. And if he absolutely needs to make the move, if he's under pressure, then I guess he will.
Yep. Only 6 laps remaining in this race. Silverstone does tend to be quite a quick race in terms of, just how quickly it flies by. So already in the last few laps of this race.
Yeah, and it's certainly not over yet, as Inception picks up another penalty. So it's not been an easiest of races for Inception, who's usually a front runner in these races. He's usually in the top 4, top 5. And he has had some bad luck with penalties, as Randy picks up a 3-second penalty. And that's really not what he wanted, because that puts him behind Beastas as it stands.
Easily could have won this race, as Rage and SMM are fighting right now in Luffield. Can SMM hang it around the outside? He's trying.
They're going side by side, and he pushes. The Rage kind of pushes the Haas as wide as he can get away with.
Will they go side by side into Old Town 1? No.
SMM has a look, but he decides to think better of it. He's probably going to try and have a run down the back straight, so he is really close now. He's just 2/10 behind, closest he's been for a long time. As they go down the back straight now, let's see whether he can make a move.
He is definitely catching up on that Red Bull. Will he shoot one down the inside insta? Yes,
he pulls out, and they're now running side by side, and he's got the inside line. Still, the Red Bull stays ahead. So great defense. This is great racing right here for fourth, and for the battle for fourth.
Excellent driving from these guys, keeping it clean even when they were going side by side. So it's nice to see Randy struggling to keep in that 1 second. The gap now 9/10 of a second. Beastas right, only 2 seconds behind, so right in the money to get P1 right now, quite comfortably.
As Michael puts in the fastest lap for the McLaren team, currently in 11th, so no points for him. No bonus point for fastest lap either.
Yellow flag in sector 2, I think it is a Ferrari of Thanasis again. Yes, he has span again in Maggins and Beckett, so
it's been a very tough day for him here today.
Not a good day in the office for that Ferrari driver.
And actually, it's not been the best days for Ferrari in general, because Ruffy qualifying 4th is now stuck behind Hexagon, and he's now running in P9. So the race has definitely not gone the way that he probably wanted it to or expected it to. But if he does stay behind Hexagon, Hexagon's got a penalty, so he might be able to get some extra points here.
But Hexagon's still in that deal, managing to stick behind Black Box. Black Box not able to pull away. He's actually fallen back from the Red Bulls.
Yeah, so that pace that he had for a couple of laps seems to have just been a one-off, because he's using all of his overtake, and actually Hexagon just makes the move on Black Box.
Sorry, yeah.
And in the end, it looked pretty simple for him. He just went straight down the inside, and Black Box will try and have another go on the next lap, but he's going to have to look behind because Ruffy is all over the back of the Mercedes.
I suspect Black Box may have made a mistake. It's uncharacteristic from him to fall away that quickly. So, but he is struggling right now.
Ruffy's all over the back of him. So that Ferrari I was talking about wanting to make up some positions might be able to move into 8th.
As they are fighting into turn 3 and 4. So.
Look how Hexagon has just pulled away from those two.
So I think
he's already 7/10 ahead.
Right
Very uncharacteristic race here for Black Box. Normally has a lot of pace, so I'm not sure if he's had an issue or made a mistake, but looks to be under pressure.
Beastas only 6/10 behind Randy right now, so that battle for P1. I mean, Beastas does technically comfortably have it quite easily right now. So
yeah,
this is
with
a matter
a gap of
just
1.8. Rage has just not been able to use the pace that he had earlier on to catch up, and he just found himself defending from the Haas. And let's see if SMM is close enough to have a move as Beastas gets ahead of Randy.
As of right now, James will fall down all the way down to P6 in this race.
SMM makes a move, sorry to interrupt, but SMM's made a move back up into 4th ahead of Rage, and it was more of a straightforward move this time round as there was no side-by-side action, just straight down the inside. So SMM will be looking to use his pace.
He's in a net P2 right now, so a great job for him.
Yeah, Beastas, as if to make a statement to say, you're not catching me, he just puts in the fastest lap of the race.
Just showing how low the tyre wear is on the medium tyres. Doing that lap time while others in the race are on soft tyres is just showing how much pace he does have in that car.
Yeah, now Hexagon's almost a second ahead of Black Box, so been sort of bottled up behind the Mercedes for the last few laps. I'm not sure if it's too late in the day for him to make an impact on the Red Bulls ahead. And Inception putting in the fastest lap on the soft compound tyres.
He has boxed again just to get the fastest lap of the race, so not a good day for him.
A tough day in the office for Black Box as well, but he seems to be pulling away from Ruffy, so a bit of a strange race for Black Box here. He seems to have no pace on one lap and he seems to have a lot of pace on the next, because now he's closing up to Hexagon.
SMM halfway down the straight overtaking Randy, so very easy overtaking. Randy really struggling on his tyres now.
Yeah, and now here comes Rage down.
Going down the inside.
Yeah, Randy really unable to fight, is making the moves look easy because he's looks like the tyre wear's caught up to him. He's got 21 lap old medium tyres, so he's going to be really feeling the lack of grip at the moment. But nevertheless, I say finishing in P6, which is what it looks like, would still be a very good recovery drive for him, starting from down in 15th as LMN.
Crucially, I think
Red Bull move around the outside.
Red Bull will take the lead in the Constructors' Championship, as I think both Mercedes are set to finish in P6 and P8 right now. Yeah,
so while the driver standings wasn't too close coming into this round, it's a little bit closer, a little bit more hope for the championship rivals, but definitely the Constructors is still a battle to watch out for between Red Bull and Mercedes.
Beastas only half a second behind James now. James will be falling down to around P7, I think, with the penalties he has. So unlucky for him, but it definitely would have been an amazing strategy from him if he didn't pick up his penalties.
If he could pull it off without penalties. Speaking of penalties, his teammate Michael's just received another penalty, currently running in 11th place. So mixed day for McLaren, but if James can still hold on, he's still going to finish in the points here.
Beastas risking it down the inside, and James not leaving him any space. Now they're going side by side in the last sector. So definitely James
sort of
not
touched
giving...
wheels there, making the Beastas didn't really need to go for a risky move, but looks like he wants to take the lead on the track because James is defending as much as he can. Yeah,
James is defending quite strongly. Obviously he doesn't have to move out of the way, but definitely ruining his own race. He could fall down one position, so definitely an unnecessary battle. But yeah, I don't know. I think Beastas has just realised there's no point battling with him. James definitely won't budge, so...
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's difficult in that situation. On the one hand, you have your pride, racing against your competitors, you just don't want to let them through, especially if you're leading the race. But on the other hand, it probably would have been smarter for James to just let Beastas go through and then tow along in his DRS to maximise his finishing position.
Beastas having a look at the end of sector 1 as we're going into the village section and just deciding to hang back.
Oh, and by the way, the race has flown by, but we are on the final lap of this race, so looks like Beastas is going to take the win here.
I think he
as
definitely
Rage
wants to
is
win
still
on the
ahead
track.
of SMM, so he's been able to defend so far. So let's see if he can hold on to P3, or what will be a net P2 at the end of this race.
Let's see if Beastas can get P1 on track. No, he won't. So the last overtaking spot for him. But at the end of the day, he will be in the net P1. So good day in the office for him.
Yeah, as the two cars come around the final corner, James will cross the line first, but Beastas will win here in Silverstone, ahead of SMM, who gets ahead of Rage at the end, just ahead of his teammate. And James will slot in to P5 with Black Box in P6. Decent recovery drive from him, but not really the result that he wanted. Ruffy improving to 7th, so I think because of Hexagon's penalty, the Ferrari will finish in 7th. And tough day in the office for Inception, and the two reserve drivers, Tino and Thanasis, still on their way to the line. It's been a bit of a tough day for them.
Yeah, not the
but
best
respect to them for
showing.
showing up at late notice and putting in a performance here.
Yeah, nice to see that they were able to come in, but just not the best day for them today.
Yeah, and another close race here in Division 1, so plenty of good fights for the lead here.
Yes, it's nice to see what these guys are able to do, especially with how tight the grid is. So obviously coming down to track limits and tyre wear once again today seems to be the story of the season.
So Beastas celebrating his win. Good drive from him as Randy gets driver of the day from the game. But Nickel, who's your driver of the day?
I think it would just be Beastas, showing how dominant he is, especially with the pace he has. Obviously he wasn't making any incredible moves or anything, but kept his head quite strong and just drove like it was normal Sunday drive for him.
I think I'd have to agree with you there. Beastas takes driver of the day just for having consistent pace, took pole, was never really in doubt of losing the lead. Special mention to James and Randy, because those two pulled off a very difficult strategy to good recovery drives. I think James probably would have been my driver of the day if he hadn't picked up those penalties. That was a bit of a shame for him, but
quite right.
Good drives from everyone.
Just looking at the final race results, Beastas, SMM, Rage riding at the top 3. Forgot to mention SMM, definitely super subs today in that Haas. LMN, James, Blackbox, Ruffy, Randy, Hexagon, Luke still rounding out the top 10. Ravako, Michael, Inception, Tino, Thanasis, Yano, Discodas round out the rest of the grid. Obviously I did a race, my mistake on that part. But definitely a good race around Silverstone, especially with the DRS. Even with DRS trains being quite boring, we did end up getting quite a good race, mate.
Yeah, definitely a really exciting race. Good fight for the lead. Yeah, just to round out, thank you to all the drivers for putting on a good show. Thanks especially to the reserve drivers. Special mention to SMM, who gets Nickel's Super Sub Award. And thanks to everybody who watched as well.
Exactly. We have a 1 week break now, summer break. Definitely the Constructors' battle is looking very tight, and Black Box is looking to see if he can get some good momentum in the second half of the season and clinch that title. Anything you want to say, Vivek, before we head into our summer break?
No, just thanks to everyone who's been watching, thanks to all the drivers, and hopefully you've been enjoying our commentary so far, but certainly don't go anywhere because the championships are definitely not decided yet.
Exactly. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Until then, take care and goodbye, and thank you for tuning in.